Hi, turkeys. Morning. I'm being followed. Morning, boys. You guys got a little bit of shade in here? How you doing? Morning, Fireball. How's your protein tub looking? Oh, you still got plenty. I'm being followed by turkeys. These have got to be the friendliest turkeys I've ever seen. They just follow you around everywhere. I feel like the Pied Piper, except they're birds. Hey guys, I'm Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So today I've got a bunch of little small jobs that need taken care of here around the livestock, so let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is open up this side of the pasture to the steers. We're going to go ahead and set up like an alleyway to lead the steers over to that gate. All right, so I don't have one of them jumper wires, so I'm just going to wrap the wire around the handle and that'll electrify the wire. Luckily this rubber here keeps me from getting shocked. Well, the turkeys have found their way out. You can see the wire's high enough the turkeys can still go everywhere, and the goats can get under it too. This single wire is just going to keep the steers from getting over there. I'll try to close them off from this pasture. Well, my latch doesn't reach anymore. I think I can fix that. So this is the first fence brace I ever built. And I got one of these ratchet strainers on here. So if I tighten this, that should push the top of the posts back that way. Hopefully it'll make the gate latch. First thing I'm gonna do is just pull this wire as hard as I can. And once it's got the ratchet on there, just to get me some loose there. Push it in there. There we go. That's pretty tight. Well, I'm touching now. That wasn't even close enough. I need another ½ inch. Well, since I couldn't get it that way, I'm just gonna pull the latch and try to move it just a little bit. It's just a staple holding this in. A long staple. There we go. Oh, the turkeys aren't happy. All right. Now we'll just swing this around so that they can't get to the latch. All right, first job of the day is done. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fix this water meter lid, and there isn't a water meter inside of this. We actually have water valves down inside of here so that we can shut off water to the barn or the house, and they're about 3 feet in the ground. They're down there far enough that the water won't freeze, and it gives us access to them. But the problem is we installed it too high, so this lip should be covered up with dirt to keep it from moving, and of course it does move. So when it shifts, it opens up an opening right here, and a steer or cow or an animal could step right into there and injure itself very badly. We don't want that to happen. So the problem is this is basically like a round culvert stuck in the ground, and it was put in there too high. So we need to cut it down a few inches so that this lid is actually covered in dirt on this outer flange. So let's get to digging. We'll cut this off. Well, the ground is very dry, so it's going to be very hard to dig. Okay, so this top part's actually an extension. The real culvert's a little farther down. So the only feasible thing we can really do is just cut the top of this extension off. Hopefully this works. Not the straightest in the world, but that should work. Hopefully I can get this back in here without falling in myself. There we go. Well, I think that's gonna have to be good enough right there. I think we'll get a little bit of dirt on top of it so the lid won't move. All right, I think that's good enough that that won't move anymore. All right, so that wraps up job number 2. So the next thing I gotta do is unload this wagon running gear. So I picked up another one at auction. Got this one for quite a bit cheaper, and this one's a little bit different. So I may go ahead and try to just see if this will roll out without hopefully running me over. There it goes. All right. She's out. So this running gear was an anhydrous running gear. So there was an anhydrous tank on here, kind of looked like a propane tank would have sat on there. And this is actually like a 5th wheel axle, the whole front axle. Can you see it? The whole front axle turns. Instead of the wheels turning, the whole front axle pivots. So it's a little different. So this wagon was probably designed not to have a really wide load on there. And it actually has springs like little shock absorbers. So it has its own built-in bounce on it. I think that's kind of neat. So even though this is an anhydrous running gear, I still think that I can build up on this and build a frame and make something on top of it. I picked this up for $120, and I think that was a pretty good deal for a set of running gear. All right, we got it unloaded, parked next to the other wagons. So that's job number 3 done. So I also purchased this 7-foot grater blade off of Dale, one of our viewers. He lives about 20 miles away from us. And this will definitely get used. I can hook this up to the TYM tractor and push snow with it if I need to this winter. So we also picked up our 4th freezer this week. This is a Whirlpool. I bought this at Lowe's. It's supposed to be 16 cubic feet. And been plugged in for about 2 days. I think everything's cooled down. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer all the chicken out of here down into the chest freezer. So now I go ahead and I can switch this one back into being a refrigerator. Remember, this was convertible. You can switch it back and forth. Go about 38 degrees. So the cool thing about this freezer is that it is convertible also. It can be a freezer or fridge. I've never seen a chest freezer that was convertible. That could be either one. So now we have a total of 3 freezers that are convertible. We have 2 upright ones, and then we have this chest freezer that's convertible, and then we still have a chest freezer that's just a freezer. But that gives us a ton of flexibility on whether we have fridge space or freezer space. Now, did we actually need this freezer for us? No, we probably didn't. So I don't know if it'll run all year round, but a lot of times when we go and we have steers butchered or pigs butchered, a lot of that gets sold to our friends and family. So if we're going there to pick up our meat, a lot of times we'll pick up my parents' meat or Rebecca's parents' meat or her brother's. And so we'll just pick up some of our family stuff at the same time. And then we normally have to take it to them like that day so that it doesn't thaw out. You have to get it to them pretty quick. This will at least allow us to be able to throw a lot of frozen meat. We'll store in, well, you can put a lot of frozen food in here, that's for sure, being a chest freezer. And that gives us a little bit of flexibility there. So if we end up getting, you know, a family member's food, we can store it in here and then take it to them a day or two later. So we like the flexibility with that, especially with the amount of animals we're getting butchered. And then the other cool thing, just being a fridge, you know, I think there's some possibilities there. I'm kind of wondering if I can turn this into refrigerator mode, maybe put a little bit of water in there to try to make it really humid, and turn it into like a miniature root cellar. Since we don't have a root cellar, I'm curious if I could turn this down to like 40 degrees, put some potatoes in there, a little bit of water for humidity, and maybe be able to store hundreds of pounds of like potatoes and root vegetables inside of there. It's a possibility. I think it's an experiment that I have to try this winter. All right, next job is gonna be in the pig pen. We're gonna search around, see what the pigs have found. Bunch of trash in here. They're probably gonna be digging it up, so we'll see what we can find, and we'll get it thrown in this trash can and haul it away. Hey piggies, you guys find anything in here? Piece of wire. Piece of metal. What you got there? Top of a detergent bottle. Well, old Pennzoil can. Old garden hose. I think that piece of concrete's a little too big. You guys are gonna have to keep digging. Hey Daisy, what you got here? Look at that. There's an old headlight. Wonder how old that is. Looks like the handle to maybe like a lawnmower or a cart or something. Don't you look comfy? Well, that is like a kid's slinky right there. How long has it been since you guys have seen a slinky? Oh, I don't know, some kind of nail-on metal trim. My trash can's getting full. I've only been out here for like 10 minutes. Oh, so here's a wire that was buried in the ground. Man, it's really stuck in the ground there. Quite a bit of wire. That came out, some aluminum wire. I pulled it right out of the electrical box. So that's probably a square D 100 amp breaker box right there. Sure, it's not really any good. At least to me it isn't. Good sized piece of metal. So one of the comments in the previous videos, maybe the pigs would find a cassette player to be able to play the tapes. And there we go. We found a little Walkman cassette player. You know, the great thing about this, you just can't make this stuff up, man. So here's an old cassette tape. It says Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'd say it's not original. I'd say somebody was copying off videos. So the pigs haven't completely knocked this all down yet. There's stuff in here. It's just kind of hidden in the weeds. Like right here, there's something. I see like a little piece of metal sticking out. Oh, and it is buried. I'm gonna have to dig that one out. But there's just a lot of stuff still in here. What's this? What did we find here? There we go, old Coca-Cola bottle. Out of all the stuff we found, probably the only thing we'd clean up and would be this Coca-Cola bottle. The rest would go in the trash. Well, my trash can is stuffed full, about a foot higher than the trash can. I think that's pretty good. I was afraid it'd be too heavy to lift, but wasn't that bad. So we're gonna have to separate out all the metal. We're gonna put that in a different pile and then put the rest of the stuff in the trash bin. I plan on later doing a scrap metal load. I've got so much scrap metal around here, so I plan on taking a load up to the scrap yard here pretty soon. So we'll separate this out and divide it accordingly. Bye-bye, Rocky Horror Picture Show. All right, last job of the day. So I'm gonna take the goats some hay. So these darker bales in front, these are the red clover bales. These lighter bales back here, they are the orchard grass bales. So I've just been rotating between the two different types. One week I'll give them clover, the next week I'll give them grass. It doesn't seem to be affecting their diet or their stomach too much, switching their feed back and forth like that. Probably because it's in such a small quantity and they're still grazing in the field as well. Well, it's the girls' turn to get grass. And they've actually been out for a couple days. Kind of been forcing them to eat off the pasture more. So it's the billy goat's turn for clover. So this big guy right here, I don't trust him one bit. Those horns, man. He'll hook your leg with them. He'll try to knock you down. Or he'll chew on your camera tripod. It appears that Chewy won, tripod lost. Yeah, I never put my back to Chewy. Not at all. He is not to be trusted. I think he's always trying to prove his manliness, looking for some type of a confrontation. Excuse you. Yes. He's really got to work at it with them horns to be able to get his head in there and eat. Yeah, that's a pretty massive rack you got. Don't get me in the corner. All right, so if you look at their little area here, you can tell they've got plenty of grass. I mean, they've got a lot in here. They just aren't eating it down real well. So some of them bad clover bales that I round baled off the field, I ended up putting them in here so that they could climb on top of them. This wasn't for them to eat, just as a jungle gym. I thought it was a good use for it. So they can climb up here and get up on the bales. They can jump across from their stump and get over to the bales. So I think that worked out well. At least gave them something to play on. Hi, Luke. Did you knock my tripod over? You did. So that's probably the last chore that I'm gonna do today. I think that was like job number 5. So it is a Sunday, so we get ready to start our work week tomorrow. So now they should have enough hay that they'll be good for a week. We got that lid fixed so that nobody hurts their foot, or none of the animals fall in that hole. I'm glad that we got that done. And then we picked up some of that piggy trash out there as well. There's going to be way more of that, way more. They're just getting started and uncovering some of that stuff. It's still so weedy you can't really see everything just yet. But so we got a good amount today. Some of that stuff I was seeing in there, I saw something in there that was metal, looked like some type of a mixer of some sort. And I mean, some of that stuff is going to end up being a tractor. Like, we're going to need a tractor to pull it out of there. And that stuff probably won't come out until after the pigs go to the butcher, and they're going to go December 28th. So we still got a long time for the pigs to be in that area. So I think that's roughly 1 acre, 3 pigs on 1 acre, and they're going to be in there for 6 months. And I know a lot of people were worried that they would kill my trees or they would tear it up too much. We'll wait and see how it is, but I was running 2 pigs on half of that, and as long as we didn't have them over 6 months, everything was fine. So I think last year we ended up having them like 8 months, and they did tear it up pretty good. It was pretty muddy by the time it was over with, but they got twice a big area. So I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. I think they'll just basically clear out the small stuff, and all the trees will be fine. I don't think they're going to kill off any of our trees. Maybe small ones like saplings and stuff like that, but none of the mature trees. They're not going to be in there long enough to do that. And then that area will rest for 6 months, and it'll rejuvenate. All the green grass and weeds and all that stuff will come back before the pigs get back in there. And that's what they'll spend most of their time doing, is just rooting up the small stuff that's in the ground. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for today's video. Kind of neat just getting out there and seeing what was in there, what the pigs found. And they're going to find some pretty cool, some more cool stuff before it's done and over with. Just oddball stuff that you could have never guessed would be in there. But that's it for today's video, guys. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. I think I found a dead horse. Okay, maybe not a dead horse. It's the head of a stuffed animal that appears to be a horse. So I don't know if the rest of that stuffed animal's under the ground or what. What's that? Oh, old umbrella. Kids umbrella. There's a lot of kids stuff out here, toys and stuff.